Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Multnomah County Board of Commissioners. Commissioner Singleton will be attending the meeting virtually today, and Commissioner Brim Edwards will be attending virtually just for the beginning of the meeting. Audience members, I want to start by asking you to please silence your electronic devices. I'd also like to remind you that in addition to the audience in this room, we have people watching and listening online, so please consider your language in comments and testimony today. Today's meeting is a hybrid board meeting. Some presenters and guests will appear in person and some will appear virtually. For those presenting virtually, please mute your mics when not speaking, and when presenting, make sure to unmute your mic and turn on your camera. For those joining us in person to present or to provide public testimony, please turn your mic on when you begin speaking and off when you've completed your remarks. For all presenters, please state your name for the record before speaking or responding to questions. May I have a motion on the consent calendar?
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Moyer moves, Commissioner Jones-Dickson seconds. Approval of the consent calendar. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
The consent calendar is approved.
Opportunity for public comment on non-agenda matters. This is a time for the board to hear public testimony, not for board deliberation. When it is your turn to speak, I will call your name and unmute you or call you to the presenters table. I'll set a timer for 3 minutes when you begin speaking and announce when your time is up, at which point please wrap up your sentence. We have 4 people signed up for verbal testimony and received 1 written testimony, which was shared with board members and staff. First up, we have Anna Azizkhani, injured and pissed off, and lightning.
Good morning. If you're ready, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Anna. I'm here to talk about Multnomah County Animal Services. Sir Lunch-A-Lot was a 4-year-old, 84-pound black lab mix. He was described as friendly, social, and a big, bouncy, sweet guy. On 2/7, a volunteer alerted Animal Health that he had kennel cough. An animal tech 2, not a vet and not even a certified vet tech, a CVT, concluded that everything was normal and to continue monitoring. On 2/8, another volunteer alerted Animal Health that he was lethargic and trembling. On 2/9 at 7:30 a.m., Sir Lunch-A-Lot was checked on by a CVT, the same CVT as last week from the dog that died, Bruce. I believe in her notes she is quoting yet another volunteer from that day. Whew. When she writes in quotes, dog standing, facing outdoors with low head and profusely drooling. Would not move, eyes are red, would not move or take treats. The CVT wrote that she observed yellow eye and nasal discharge, placing on hold and starting kennel cough medication per protocol. Again, we have a non-vet making a diagnosis which goes against Oregon administrative rules concerning the practice of veterinary medicine. Later that day at 10 a.m., another volunteer told a tech that Sir Lunch-A-Lot looked awful, was drooling excessively and not moving. They said they knew because they had to clean the kennel around him because he would not move, and they let Animal Health know. This volunteer then went directly to Animal Health to remind them of Sir Lunch-A-Lot's catatonic and deteriorating state. 3 hours later, Sir Lunch-A-Lot was checked on and found to be laying on his side with labored breathing with vomit, diarrhea, and blood in his kennel. He was brought back to Animal Health on a gurney, where he died. According to the notes, that was the first and only time he was seen by a vet. That's 2 dogs dead in 2 weeks that we know of due to medical negligence, with at least 2 more dogs very sick today. Is this the animal shelter you want to be in charge of? As a response to his death, there's a new system for medical monitoring to be done by the volunteers. While that's great to have, lack of observations from volunteers is not the problem. This is an issue from the top down. When volunteers raise animal health concerns, it takes hours to weeks for the dog to be seen by one of the 3 vets. We don't know if this is kennel cough or some other kind of contagious canine respiratory disease. I've raised this issue before. There was a volunteer that was fired because she thought one of these dogs was going to die. We now clearly see that lack of timely and appropriate treatment causes death. We need to have someone with a doctor of veterinary medicine license in charge of animal health. Thank you, Commissioner Jones-Dickson, for bringing up the need to talk about euthanasia, but I want to make something very clear. We are not only finding fault with the euthanasia policy, we're trying to point out the many failures by MCAS at crucial points that lead to a dog getting killed or dying under their care. From medical negligence, to lack of trainers, to kennel stress, to the non-utilization of Dolly's Fund, animals lose their lives because of MCAS's shortcomings. These are not things that will change with a new building or necessarily more funds. We need a complete restructuring of MCAS and a culture change. Instead of spending time and money on licensing fees, please spend the effort in remedying these issues.
Thank you. Good morning.
My name's Injured and Pissed Off. Will the real Injured and Pissed Off please stand up? If you look up on Google for Injured and Pissed Off, there seems to be a lot of people on there, but I'm the only one that's taken the name. Legally, it's not a pseudonym. In fact, I turned 9 years old in Injured and Pissed Off years, and I spell pissed off as one word, just to piss them off more. And I'm sure that there's gonna be people getting more pissed off because I'm at a care facility, Harvest Homes, which is very, very nice. Room 219 is my room number there. 4921 North Roberts. Anyways, as I'd mentioned before, I was in a motel room called Banfield Studios on Sandy, and the county was paying for the motel. I was there 4 or 5 months, and the county worker, Caitlin, that's all I've ever known her name by, and Amanda Catchpole, C-A-T-C-H-P-O-L-E, is a state social worker, and Caitlin was a county social worker. And the county worker, Caitlin, Amanda was there in the motel room with me, and Caitlin was too, the county worker, and then the state worker, and myself, and Caitlin's mentioned that the county would be paying my care facility, moving to Harvest Homes. They would pay it all because of the improprieties that's happened over the years since my injuries, 2010, November 15th, 2010. And Harvest Homes had been trying to reach Caitlin, and of course, if I got to serve subpoenas on this Caitlin and Amanda Catchpole for saying those statements, Amanda was just a witness. Like I said, I don't know Caitlin's last name, but if I go to my bank today, I intend on pressing charges if my account's been drawn upon. Thank you.
Thank you, Injured and Pissed Off. And if you want to talk to one of my staff so that they can.
Oh, I don't think there's any reason to talk to the staff because I made myself pretty clear.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Lightning. I represent Lightning Super Pegasus AI Lab. One of the things that I'm kind of thinking about is that will the Blazers stay in Portland or will they go to my wonderful friends in Seattle? Now, why I say that is that I think Tom, who is now the current owner, and he'll follow through with all his commitments, is going to look at this from two different ways. I think Tom should hold out and say, I want to own the Moda Center and the land it sits on, and I'd like the city to transfer that to me for $1. Then I'd like Tom to ask Metro and say, I also want that Expo Center, and I want you to transfer that to me for $1. And I'll come in and I'll do all the development on it. Don't worry about that. I have development companies, and he'll do that. Or I'm going to leave. I'm going to go to Seattle. Now, why I say Seattle is a lot of the fans will travel to Seattle. So the players, you're going to do probably as well, if not better, in Seattle. And the reality is, I think Jeff Bezos is going to purchase Seattle Seahawks for his amazing wife, Lauren. And then, in a few years, they're going to want to take over Seattle Trailblazers. And I think he's going to work a deal out with Tom to give him a price that is so good that he's going to say, I'm going to go to Seattle. And that's what's going to happen. And then the Bezos are going to own the Seattle Seahawks, Seattle Trailblazers, and Seattle is going to really do well. But Portland's going to go into bankruptcy. And you know, Multnomah County, when you ran me off my property, my marina, set me up to be killed, did everything you could to impede my progress, Multnomah County River Patrol, karma's going to be fun here. Because what you did there is basically karma. And it all goes a full circle. And if Multnomah County goes bankrupt, the city of Portland goes bankrupt, I know that President Trump is going to start crying about that. He's going to cry right now. Because if he talks to Jeff Bezos and said, I want that Trailblazers to go to Seattle, it's a done deal. It's just how much money Tom wants. So if you don't give him everything he wants, he's going to fly like the Pegasus right to Seattle. Karma is really amazing. Enjoy your losses.
We have one person sign up online, Shannon Gelfand, but I don't see her, so that's it for public testimony.
Thank you, Tasha. Can we move on to R1?
R1, notice of intent to apply for an FY26 USDOT build planning grant for the Stark Street Bridge Replacement Project.
May I have a motion?
Second?
Commissioner Jones-Dixon moves, Commissioner Brim Edwards seconds, approval of R1. Good morning, Megan. It's great to see you here on a different bridge than we've seen you before, but a no less important one. Before I turn it over to you, I know that Commissioner Jones-Dixon has some remarks. Not later, you want to do them?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay, great. Well, then I will turn it right over to you. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair, Commissioners. My name is Megan Neal. I'm with the Transportation Division, and I'm supporting the Stark Street Bridge Replacement Project. I'm here today to seek approval for a notice of intent to apply for a USDOT grant to support this project in the design phase, but I thought while I'm here, I might as well give an overview of the project. It's relatively new for the county, although the need is not new for many of the board members here, as well as the community residents who rely on this bridge. Next slide, please. So just a little bit about this bridge. It was built back in 1914, about the time when the historic Columbia River Highway was built. This was an era in Portland where it was a hobby to kind of take your car and drive out to the country, make a day out of it. In fact, there were clubs around this hobby. One of the automobile club houses was actually located right on the south side of this bridge. That being said, it does then mean that the bridge is well over 100 years old and does not meet current design and safety standards or can carry the loads of many of the heavy vehicles that are out on our system today. So the project is really about creating a new crossing that can support our community's transportation needs, that's structurally sound, safe, low maintenance, and for all users. On the next slide. Just want to orient everyone to where this bridge is located. It is in East rural Multnomah County, where the Stark Street Bridge connects into historic Columbia River Highway over the Sandy River. Locally, it really provides a critical connection for a lot of Corbett and Springdale residents to go to school every day and for emergency responders to get to our rural communities. It's right next to the state park, Dabney Recreation State Park, which is very popular for our area. And then just largely, a lot of the land around this bridge is agricultural in nature, with farms and nurseries who really rely on this bridge to get their goods to local markets. And then it's also a critical access point to the gorge, which is a huge tourist attraction for our region, attracting millions of people to the area every year. On the next slide, we are excited to apply for a US DOT build grant this month. We are requesting $5 million to go towards the design phase of the project. We actually just recently kicked off the environmental review phase last fall, so that if we were successful with this award, we would roll right into the design phase because it would come in right about as we end the environmental review phase, and the grant is due on February 24th of this month. So I want to talk a little bit more on the next slide about the why of this project. It goes without saying, a bridge of this age is structurally deficient and functionally obsolete, which is really what the sufficiency rating of 25 out of 100 is really capturing. In addition to being weight restricted, it's also turn restricted to large vehicles turning onto the bridge from the historic highway. Largely due to its narrow width, and I'll talk a little bit more about the substandard geometry on the next slide. At one point, there was a wooden, back still on that slide. At one point, there was a 4-foot wooden sidewalk attached to the bridge on one side, but that itself, too, is also deteriorating. And then looking down closer to the foundations, it does have a history of scour from the Sandy River, and it is vulnerable to earthquakes. On the next slide, talk a little about the narrow width, which is one of the primary reasons we're looking at replacing this bridge. The bridge is 18 feet wide for 2 lanes, so if you consider a modern lane these days, there's around 12 feet. You can see why it's a bit of a tight squeeze for vehicles using it today. There have been 36 recorded accidents on this bridge since 2017. We know there's far more anecdotally. These are just the ones that come in through the police reports. And a lot of this damage is sustained by, as you can see in the photo, trucks just not being able to take this, this tight turning radius. And we even further weight limited the bridge just recently back in December to limit long semi-trucks and commercial vehicles over 19 tons, just simply because of the repeated pattern of accidents just causes a sustained burden on our road maintenance staff and budget, which also further prompted the need for this project. On the next slide, many of these accidents culminated recently in an emergency repair project that we conducted last fall. Over time, all the hits that the wing wall was taking caused the wall to bulge and then collapse, and all the stacked stone behind it just kind of fell out, as you can see in the lower left. Engineers did recommend that we do a full, complete replacement of the approach and the wing walls. As you can see in the center photo, it had to all be demoed and replaced and rebuilt back to look like the original wing wall. And that, while it was an emergency repair, it did take 6 months, and we heard strong voices. The community really strongly vocalized their concern about the closure of this bridge, and further also the need for this project. And just on the last slide, to touch a little bit about the community, I wanted to also share that our intent is to fully engage the public and our stakeholders throughout the process. The community input will be sought to inform the design of this bridge, and we'll have engagement opportunities along the way. We will learn from a lot of the outreach that we did during that emergency repair project, where we learned a lot about how important this crossing is to school districts, first responders, the Corbett community. We also started learning how this bridge is interconnected to the historic Columbia River Highway, as well as the gorge. So that concludes the overview today. I really appreciate your time and attention this morning, and just your support over last year for getting this project off the ground. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions about our grant request.
Thank you so much, Megan. I appreciate the overview. It was really helpful. We do have one person signed up for public testimony, so if you wouldn't mind just stepping back, and then when that's done, I'll invite you back up here. Thank you.
Lightning?
Yes, my name is Lightning. I represent Lightning Super Pegasus AI Lab. What I can see is that Multnomah County, you just don't know how to keep your properties maintained. And I've always said that. You have no clue, like the city of Portland. And that's why you shouldn't own real estate. Because your properties and everything you have becomes a nuisance. And it should be sold to the private sector and let them bring in their money. Let them maintain these properties, these bridges. As you know, the Steel Bridge is owned by the railroad company. Now, I do approve of your grant. You have a big problem there. But you know, that's not the biggest problem on these bridges, is that we've got these seismic upgrades that they're talking about on all these other bridges over the Willamette. And you have President Trump giving you the middle finger. He's giving you the middle finger on any funding from the federal government. And he said, you know, you guys stepped all over Lightning at his marina, Columbia River Marina. And he said, I used to own a marina. Me and my kids did. That's what President Trump says. And he says, I don't like the way you treated him there. And he said, I'm going to cost you a few $1 billion. You cost Lightning about $35 million on his development project. Gross sales. Impeded, interfered, stopped me from doing anything I wanted to do, attempted to have me killed. Travis Goldberg was there as a witness, so he knows what I'm saying, that it's fact. It's fact. And everything comes back to karma. The bridges, the county, the city. And you wonder why. Little cowards from River Patrol wanted to try to bankrupt me, set me up, came into my property in the middle of the night, all dressed in black, had their little car with their 4 doors open, tapping on my window at 3 in the morning, wanting me to open up the door. And what do you think they would have said to me? I'd be another Alex Preddy. But I'm sitting here right now. And I'm going to get body-worn cameras on every one of them, and they're going to have external oversight of the likes they've never seen before in their lives, River Patrol. And you know what's so great about those body-worn cameras? You will eventually abolish yourself. I don't have to do it. That's how corrupt you are. That's how unconstitutional you are. And you know, if the Blazers leave this city, it all comes back to the culture of Multnomah County and the city of Portland. Good luck to you.
Thank you. Megan, can you come back up here, and then we will go to the board for questions or comments. And I'm going to start with you, Commissioner Jones-Dixon.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. No comments. She hit the nail on the head, no pun intended. Look forward to advocating for just the funds, and just want to say again, thank you, Megan, and the rest of the transportation team, Lance and Sarah and everyone else that's here for just your support, and hopefully we will be able to get the funding. So thanks again.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Brim Edwards.
Thanks for the presentation, the team that put it together. I'm very supportive of rebuilding this critical lifeline and join Commissioner Jones-Dixon in hoping we get the grant.
Thank you. Commissioner Singleton.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Megan, for the presentation, but the whole team for the work as well. I know how critical this project is, and I just want to also uplift that I appreciate that you all keep pursuing federal grants, knowing that this administration is really challenging in meeting the needs that we have as far as funding for multiple types of projects. So thank you for keep putting in the work on something that isn't always bearing fruit on the other side. We will stay really hopeful about this one. And I just want to acknowledge that anyone who's tried to enjoy some ice cream from Sugar Pine knows how much this entire community loves this area. And I think that you all know how much I'm interested in community engagement. So you mentioned so many different uses of the bridge, including the farmers and other folks around. So I hope that they're all on the list for engagement and get to be a part of designing this new space so that it is really useful to everybody, but also meets community needs. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Moyer. Okay. Megan, I had one question. I've been here now almost 10 years. I don't remember hearing too much about the damage to this bridge on a regular basis. I'm just wondering if, is there something like, is Google Maps or Apple Maps now directing big trucks across this bridge where, previously maybe there wasn't, they knew better than to come here? I'm just curious about what we're seeing.
Yeah, so I've been in the county for 10 years, and I remember when I started, I'd learned about the issues with this bridge. Is one of the first things that the transportation director talked to me about. I think it kind of had to do with the Waze apps and GPS in cars and apps in general, just directing large vehicles down this route. And I think our GIS manager did try to work with Waze to redirect traffic away from this bridge, but I don't know how effective we were at the end of the day.
Thank you. I was just curious about that because logically it doesn't seem appropriate at all when you look at those pictures. I appreciate all the work you and the transportation team are doing on this project, and I know that this is a really important thoroughfare for East County. A lot of people rely on it, as your map saw and as we've been hearing from constituents about this. So I just appreciate the work and urgency that you're moving forward with this, and wish you luck with the grant. Thank you. Can we have a roll call vote?
Commissioner Moyer,
Aye.
Commissioner Singleton,
Yes.
Commissioner Brim Edwards,
Yes?
Commissioner Jones-Dixon,
Yes.
Chair Vega Peterson.
Yes. The notice of intent is approved.
Thank you.
R2, ratification of collective bargaining agreement 2025 through 2028 between Multnomah County and the AFSCME Local 88-4 Pharmacist Unit.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
All right, Commissioner Jones-Dixon moves, Commissioner Brim Edwards seconds, approval of R2. Good morning, Elizabeth and Sessa, thank you for being here. I'll turn this over to you.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. For the record, my name is Elizabeth Calixto, and I use she, her pronouns. I'm the Interim Labor Relations Director for Multnomah County. With me is the Interim Central Human Resources Director, Sessa Diaz. Thank you for having me today. I'm here to request board ratification of the tentative agreement reached in successor bargaining with AFSCME Local 88-4 Pharmacist Unit. I served as lead negotiator for these negotiations. This was a collaborative effort from many county employees on both union and management bargaining teams, and I would like to take a moment to thank everyone for their dedication and hard work. From Labor Relations, I would like to recognize my bargaining co-chair, James Apoka. From the Health Department, I would like to recognize Jonathan Wexler, who was the Employee Relations Manager at Health at the time, Celeste Noodleman, Michelle Coder, and Richie Longoria. We're also fortunate to have the subject matter expert support from our budget and class comp teams, Leah Isaac and Tony McCasker, respectively. From the union, I would like to thank Michelle Sedelli, Chris Johnson, Rachel Ulig, Marion Clark, Tao Bowie, Mark Rizzo, and Lauren Osborne. The county and Local 88-4 entered into negotiations on April 21, 2025, and had 16 bargaining sessions. We reached a tentative agreement on a 3-year contract on January 5th, 2026. The union provided its notice of ratification to Human Resources on January 27th, 2026. It now comes before the Board of Commissioners for ratification. This successor CBA covers a 3-year term from July 1, 2025 through June 30th of 2028. Key provisions of this contract include a 2.4% COLA adjustment in the first year of the contract, retroactive to July 1st of 2025. Pharmacists will also see a 1.45% market adjustment upon ratification of the CBA. Years 2 and 3 of the CBA will see a COLA adjustment of between 1 to 4%. In terms of professional development, licensure fees will no longer be prorated based on FTE, and pharmacists will receive up to $400 annually for associated maintenance fees and recertifications. Lastly, employees will receive $500 per year for professional association membership or continuing pharmacy education instead of biannually. In the way of paid leaves, an additional one-time vacation credit of 40 hours of longevity recognition leave will be awarded to regular status pharmacists who have completed 15 years of continuous county service, prorated by FTE. Pharmacists may now use up to 24 hours of their vacation leave each calendar year for personal emergencies and employee wellness. The county has also increased bereavement leave from 3 to 5 days for employees who attend a funeral beyond 350 miles from the employee's place of residence. Lastly, the parties collaborated on creative solutions on other workplace matters, including creating a pilot program for pharmacists to participate in a residency program focusing on ambulatory care without losing their seniority, and establishing terms for the ability to work extra shifts as salaried employees. Overall, both teams worked together to resolve a variety of issues and come to an agreement that supports both the county's operational needs and the needs of the county's pharmacists. I believe this agreement is a testament to the strong working relationship between the county and our pharmacists union, and I am personally proud of the collaborative effort that led to this positive outcome. Thank you again, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Do we have any public testimony on this item?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. So we'll go to the board for any questions or comments. We'll start with Commissioner Brim Edwards.
I'm assuming that's already been ratified by the bargaining unit? Great. I don't have any questions, and I'm just happy to see a resolution, have it ratified, and going to be very supportive this morning.
Thank you. Commissioner Singleton.
Thank you, Chair. I just also want to appreciate the team for the presentation, but the work here, as well as the pharmacist team for continuing to show up and negotiating this. So no questions for y'all. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Moyer. Okay. Commissioner Jones-Dixon. Okay, thank you. And I don't have any questions either. I appreciate all the work that went in to both the Local 88-4 pharmacists, their bargaining team, as well as our labor relations team. So thank you so much for all of this. This is an important contract, and the work that they do is critical to getting medicine to our community members through our clinics. So just really glad we have this 3-year agreement in front of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tasia, can we have a roll call vote?
Commissioner Moyer?
Yes.
Commissioner Singleton?
Yes.
Commissioner Brim Edwards?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones-Dixon?
Yes.
Chair Vega Peterson?
Yes, the agreement is approved. All right, thank you very much. And we checked, there wasn't anyone from Ask Me here ahead of time. Yeah, okay. All right, so we have, we're running ahead of schedule, which never happens, but today it did. So we're going to take a brief recess as we get ready for R3 to make sure that our guest of honor has time to arrive. So with that, we will take a 5-minute recess and then check in to see how we're doing on 10-minute? 10:30. Oh, okay, we will recess until 10:30. We stand in recess. right, hello, everybody. We are going to reconvene for our last and most important agenda item for today, which I'll turn it over to Tasha to introduce it.
RS3, recognition of Mohammed Bader's service to Multnomah County.
Oh, that was Emily. All right, so this is a non-voting item. So there's no dissent. All right, so in honor of Director Bader, we are going to start this agenda item a little differently today, and that is with a poem written by a very special local poet, and it is something that's going to be read by the whole board. So Commissioner Moyer, I will pass it over to you to start.
I trudged amidst the desert heat. Vultures crowded the sky. The heated wind slapped my face. Then I could not stand. The heat, the vultures, and the arid land.
Far away, I saw an oasis. I crawled over the sand to lean against a palm tree. In moments, I slumbered and began to dream. I dreamed that all nations knelt to the Creator.
All nations recited a peace song together. All nations blended, and colors, ranks, and social statuses ended. False pride disappeared, and white pigeons formed a white flag for peace. The flag held the burdens of all nations.
And a phrase beneath it said, "Freedom for all and justice forever." I woke up and had to move on. In the mirage, I saw another oasis and another dream amidst it all.
Vultures, heat, and wind. I moved on with a desire and a dream, carrying an oasis in my so-called savage heart. Still, I carry a dream.
Still, he carries a dream. That was a poem, A Dream, by our own Mohammed Bader. Mohammed, it is with both great sadness and appreciation that we are here today as a board and a county to recognize your upcoming retirement and celebrate your nearly 30 years of service at Multnomah County. For those of you who don't know, Director Mohammed Bader has worked for Multnomah County since 1996, holding various leadership positions over that time, including Director of an Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities Division, Interim Deputy Director of DCHS, and of course, Director of DCHS. As Interim Director, Mohammed was a key leader in Multnomah County's response to the COVID-19 pandemic, helping to establish new ways of providing social services like food assistance, aging care, and rent assistance during a time of unprecedented need in our community. Under his leadership, Multnomah County ramped up from providing a couple of $1 million a year in rental assistance to, at the highest point, nearly $50 million a year of rental assistance flowing through DCHS. He was then appointed as permanent director of DCHS in 2021, where he leads a team of over 1,000 employees across 4 major divisions. In his time as director, he has helped DCHS navigate the aftermath of the pandemic amid growing economic disparities in our community, while also helping to build our preschool and early learning division. Director Bader's professional accomplishments are extensive, but what truly sets him apart is his dedication to our community. Director Bader is an incredible advocate for many of our local Arab organizations and local initiatives intended to support the Arab community. This dedication is informed and inspired not only by his years of professional experience and expertise, but also by his identity as an Arab and Palestinian American. For his contributions to the community, the county's Immigrant and Refugee Employees Resource Group presented him with the inaugural Mohammed Bader Award last year. Mohammed, you have inspired so many people in your time at Multnomah County, including me. And you've done this through your love, your abundance of love, your joy, your creative spirit, and the way you serve as a generous and kind leader who's so dedicated to giving people opportunities and uplifting and centering the voices of clients and the communities that we serve in our work. You truly move with a desire and a dream. And through these 30 years, which I'm sure has presented its fair share of challenges alongside all the accomplishments and impact you've managed to deliver to our community, you have never lost sight of that dream. And for that, we are all immensely grateful. Many years ago, a young man came to this country with 2 suitcases, a passport, a few dollars, and a very optimistic smile, to quote your own words. I am so glad that man found his way to Multnomah County. You've etched your soul to our hearts and our memories, and your impact on the people you've served will not soon be forgotten. I would say never forgotten. I hope that this next chapter of your life will be dedicated to all the things you love, like travel, music, sunsets, and poetry. I know that we will miss your optimistic smile here at Multnomah County, but I know that, again, your presence will be felt for years. So with that, I'd like to go ahead and introduce the video that has been created to honor Muhammad today. Thank you, Tasia. All right, here we go.
He's very family oriented. He's a dad. He's very family oriented. He's a dad. He's a husband.
A man just loves his culture. He loves his customs, his norms, his traditions.
And I love listening to Muhammad's poetry because it really is a reflection of his sincerity and his deep caring for not just himself, but the community at large.
We know Muhammad is just a great therapist.
Muhammad's also a visionary. He's super creative.
So he did write a book. He definitely landed in the right career in human services because he's really somebody that's really caring and listens and understands. I have been with the county for 30 years as well. And, you know, the majority of the leaders when I started were not managers of color. So that really resonated to me to see someone of color to be in a higher role other than the case management job that I was doing. Muhammad really wanted the Department of County Human Services to be an employer of choice. So really prioritizing staff's well-being, making sure he listened.
For an individual like Muhammad to really not just have the weight of nearly 1,000 people on his shoulders, but the weight of communities on his shoulders who so dependent upon these essential and vital services. We had an opportunity to talk about how this will not just impact staff, but how it will impact the community, especially during COVID and then post-COVID. So for somebody to have the bandwidth to care that much is absolutely impressive.
Watching Muhammad be the director for one of the largest county-ran developmental disability programs in the state was really inspiring for me because it also meant that that was something I could do if I chose to. Muhammad, having been a direct service provider, having worked in the system himself before becoming a leader, absolutely gave him insight in a way that I think he wouldn't have had otherwise. You know, there's a difference between being a boss and being a leader. I always say this. A boss is someone who knows what you do. They know what you're supposed to do. They understand metrics and tasks and deliverables. But a leader is someone who intrinsically understands the value of what you do, who helps you feel seen and empowers you to make decisions in your own work, in your own experience, but also creates psychological safety where it's okay to fail forward.
There's like a human element to all interactions with Muhammad where you feel like you as a person are centered in that moment, and it's not just about what you can provide or the skills that you have or the position that you hold, but like you as a person have value that just doesn't go away.
It's always been a tremendous support, but also would hold me accountable in a very kind way. And things that he taught me, in addition to people's right to self-determination, people's right to fair and equitable services, supports, leadership. He also really held me to stop talking and listen to people, stop filling in the void and listen to folks, and you might learn something.
When you work with someone in a leadership position, you may not see the heart. And with Muhammad, you see his heart.
He's been one of my biggest champions my whole career. And I'm just going to miss having him here to run ideas by or to get excited about something with alongside, whether it's a project or just a new idea.
What do you say about a man who has a body of work that stretches from Portland to Gresham on Burnside, right? There's many things we can say. We can say this guy is great. We can say he's awesome. We can say he's amazing. You only have 2 words for Muhammad as he transitions. Thank you, right? There's nothing else we can say.
I want to thank our county team for putting together that incredible video. I would love to invite, we have several people here who are going to share their experiences with Muhammad and deliver all the accolades that he so richly deserves. So I would invite Rachel Pearl, Sherelle Jackson, Alexa Alberti, Peggy Bray, I think is virtually, and Dr. Richard. Yeah, no, come on. We can add more chairs or folks can switch out as needed. Great. Go ahead, Rachel.
I'm gonna need those tissues, actually. I'm not a crier, but for you, yeah, here it goes. And good luck, everyone, because once it starts. So it's truly an honor I'm Rachel, sorry, she, her pronouns. I'm the interim director for Department of County Human Services. And it's truly an honor to sit here today to celebrate the incredible career of Muhammad Bader, someone who I consider to be my mentor, my leader, my friend, and one of my heroes. I often think about the concept of a legacy. When I was thinking about what to say to you today, I looked up legacy and I found this definition. Legacy is defined by the lasting impact, character, and love left in people. Planting seeds for a future you may not always see. A true legacy is measured often by service to others. And Muhammad, you're leaving quite a legacy here at Multnomah County. You have paved the way for so many people who have looked at you and believed that they too could do this work, that they too could take up space where nobody like them had before, or sit at a table where they had never sat. You are hope in human form. And that, my friend, is a beautiful gift. Muhammad, your commitment and dedication to this community has been truly remarkable. Your impact is intricately woven throughout our neighborhoods, our community-based organizations, and the people who we serve. It's difficult to summarize your accomplishments into words and to truly articulate how the impact of your time here at Multnomah County will be felt for years to come. As a leader who brought a rich and diverse blend of expertise from being a licensed therapist, a leader in mental health services, your many roles across ADVSD and IDD, your career has been uniquely dedicated to healing and to community well-being. Muhammad, one of your most enduring qualities is your deep commitment to fostering a truly human-centered, trauma-informed culture at DCHS. The way you listen, step back, reflect, and think about the impact of decisions has shaped your department, our department, in a way that should make you so very proud. Rooted in your personal and professional background, you didn't just advocate for these principles, you lived them and built them into the very fabric of how we work and interact. This approach transformed our department into a place where compassion and understanding are the starting points for every decision. Your thoughtful, intuitive, and empathetic leadership, perhaps best reflected in the perspective you bring to your poetry, like the poem read today, has instilled a lasting sense of purpose in our team. Mohammed, you're a leader who understood that growth requires grace. It requires discomfort and coming back and trying over and over again. I had many interactions with you where you offered me that grace. You cultivated a relational space where it was genuinely safe to lean into learning and even to celebrate mistakes. You have consistently modeled the belief that mistakes are truly opportunities, not failures, which empowered all of us to be brave and bold in our work, allowing for innovation to fill the gaps and solve the problems that we face. And you never let us forget our why. You always ensured we continued to center those most impacted by the decisions we make, keeping the focus firmly on equity, supporting employees, and having a real-world impact where we strive to be 10 times better than we were yesterday, because the community who we walk alongside deserves that from us. And finally, just on a personal note, I want to express my profound gratitude to you for changing my life. Mohammed, you not only saw potential in me, but had the courage to act on it. Thank you for believing in me and taking a chance to have me as your deputy director for your final chapter at the county. It has been a joy and honor to learn so much from you, and my life has been forever changed because of that experience. Your faith in my abilities changed the trajectory of my career and has given me countless opportunities to grow, reflect, change my approach, and step into my own strengths as a leader, and to join the very best department in Multnomah County, Department of County Human Services, where I get to continue your legacy of walking alongside the people who we serve and center them as the heroes in their own stories. I will always be grateful for your mentorship and your support. Mohammed, your leadership and your heart of pure solid gold, and your vision, always your vision, will be deeply missed at DCHS and across all of Multnomah County. The lives that you have touched have ripples that have and will continue to change our world. We wish you a retirement filled with joy, laughter. You do have the very best laugh. I actually really miss your laugh. Sometimes I think I can hear it in the office next door. Relaxation, soccer, lots of soccer, travel, and so many other adventures. Cheers to you, my friend.
Thank you so much, Dr. Richard. I serve as the equity manager for the Department of County Human Services. Chair to you and Commissioner Moyer, Commissioner Brim Edwards, Commissioner Jones-Dixon, and Commissioner Singleton. So all of my colleagues here, you can see they have prepared statements. They didn't tell me they were going to have prepared statements.
You don't need them.
So I'm going to just wing it like I used to do in college when I never studied for a test and I just showed up hoping the professor would be merciful to me. But I'm grateful to be here today as Mohammed has transitioned into retirement. I remember in November of 2020 when I initially engaged in the interview process for the equity manager. My predecessor, Deion Jordan, who is here, had taken a job with the state of Oregon, and I was reluctant to apply because sometimes Multnomah County can take a long time hiring people. So I applied anyway, and I think I started the application process in July of 2020. Finally, somebody got back to me like in August, September, and so we started this interview process. I thought it was going to be about 3 interviews, and then I would be told, you either got the job or you didn't. And 6 interviews later, I remember my very last interviews, Mohammed, former ODE director Ben Duncan, and former chief of staff Kim Melton. And so the 3 of us met. It was about maybe 20, 25 minutes, and I'm sitting there, and they're asking me questions. And Muhammad ends by saying, "Thank you, Dr. Richard. I'll get back to you in about a week." And so we end the call, and I'm sitting there with my wife and telling her what happened and how I thought the interview went. And then I get a call like 15 minutes later, and it's Muhammad. And he don't know this because, again, I'm on the phone, and I said, "Hold on, Muhammad." And I told my wife, I said, "I think this is like the letdown that I'm not going to get the job." She's like, "Why do you think that?" I said, "He just told me he was going to call me in a week, but I get a call 15 minutes later." So I'm preparing myself for this letdown. I'm really trying to prepare mentally because after going through 5, 6 interviews, you kind of really want the job, especially if you're a finalist. And so Muhammad, when I come back on the line, he asked me how I was doing, and we're just talking and talking. And I'm noticing this conversation is kind of going really long for a letdown. And I'm like, I hope this guy ain't really trying to, drop me on some cotton, to make me feel good about coming in second. So Muhammad he's really excited. He's talking about the vision for equity, and he's talking about the vision for diversity and inclusion in DCHS, and I'm just sitting there listening, and Muhammad finally pauses and goes, "Oh, Dr. Richard, I'm sorry. I think I better offer you the job." And I said, "I think I better accept." And I appreciate Muhammad for bringing me back into Multnomah County after previously serving with the Department of Community Justice for about 3 years. And Muhammad brought me back into the county in this position, and it was a really, really good relationship that I was able to develop with Muhammad. And I was just loving being in the position, although I'd only been there for like about 2 weeks, and then Muhammad sends me a message. I don't know if Muhammad remembers this, but I get this message. He says, "Hey, need to chat with you." I'm like, "Oh, what now?" And he says, "Hey, I want you to review some program offers." Now, I come from the state of Oregon, right? I was never really familiar with program offers from a county perspective. And I'm thinking it's going to be like 2 or 3 program offers that I got to review. And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I can get this done real quick, Muhammad." And remember, we're in November, so, we're getting into the hard budget season. And he sends the email, and I got it. And I opened the email, and literally it was 125 program offers. So I went in there, and I told my wife, I said, "Don't be upset with me, but I'm going to make an executive decision." She goes, "What?" I said, "I'm going to quit my job." She said, "What's going on?" I said, "Listen, 125, and I don't even know what a program offer is. I had no clue about direct versus indirect, no clue. But I got it done." And I appreciate Muhammad for kind of throwing me into the deep end of the water. Now, he didn't know whether I could swim. He didn't know if I had a life jacket. Muhammad didn't know anything. But here's one thing I began to understand and know about Muhammad, that when he believed in you, he believed in you. And Muhammad was really the first director that I ever had a relationship beyond a transactional relationship. Because Muhammad had the ability to bring you in from a transactional relationship to a real relationship. And for me, that's what I call real leadership. Did Muhammad know the work that I did? Yes, he did. But Muhammad got to know me as a person. And a lot of times in government work, and I've been doing government work now for about 27 years, sometimes that gets lost, where people don't get to know you. They don't get to know your heart. They don't get to know your psychological disposition. They don't get to know how you function. But Muhammad did all of that for me. He put on the calendar for us to meet every Friday at Starbucks on Union and Ainsworth. And not knowing what to expect, because again, I've worked for a lot of directors. No director ever invited me for coffee outside of the office. And so showing up there every Friday, nearly every Friday for 5 years, was one of the most transformative aspects of my career here in Multnomah County, because I got to know not just the visionary for DCHS. I got to know not just the director of DCHS. I got to know not just the individual who was responsible for over 1,000 employees. I got to know Mohammed Bader. And that is what I will carry with me from the first time we met at that Starbucks until life ends for either he or myself. And Mohammed, those meetings are not going to stop. When you're done with your traveling, we're going to get those meetings going again, because you will never know how transformative those meetings were for me. For you to be a director, to take time with the equity manager and sit down. I wasn't a director of one of the divisions, but you never made me feel as an equity manager that I was less than or beneath one of the division directors. You welcomed me fully and inclusively into our leadership team. And for you to come to me and have discussions with me about our budget, about our department, about diversity, equity, and inclusion, you will never know what that means to me. And as I said in the video, there is only 2 words I can say to you, Mohammed Bader: thank you. I yield back.
Thank you so much, Dr. Richard.
Good morning. I am Alexis Ashby. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the interim deputy director for DCHS. I did prepare remarks, Dr. Richard, but I don't want to feel shamed about that. So anywho, it is truly an honor to be here to celebrate you, Mohammed. You've been a colleague, a leader, a mentor, and a friend, not just to me, but to many folks. And so I feel grateful to be able to celebrate with you as you embark on your journey to retirement. I'm gonna stick to the script so I don't cry. For all the milestones, the hard decisions, and the incredible achievements we've shared, I truly want to say thank you. You've not only guided our department, but you've had a profoundly impact, and you've shaped not only my career, but the careers of many folks in this room, as you can see. Speaking personally, I can say that my own career path would look different without your influence. I stepped into the IDD division director role 3 weeks into a pandemic when no one knew or could anticipate the length, the impact, or what was to come as a result of COVID-19. However, I remember our call when I accepted the role. I think I hung up and probably 0.25 seconds later called you back, because I thought, what the heck, what am I doing? Why did I accept this role right now? The world is gonna end. But you reassured me very calmly. You said, Alexis, I got your back, and you can do this. And here I am 6 years later. This brings me to one of my favorite quotes. It's from George Bernard Shaw. Some men see things as they are and they ask why. I dream things that never were and say why not. Mohammed, you've always been a leader who asks why not. You refuse to settle for how things have always been done. You championed innovation and ideas that ultimately improve the lives of those we serve. And that spirit is now woven into the fabric of DCHS because of you. It didn't matter what idea I would propose, you always responded with curiosity and support. If it was a technological innovation, you backed the idea. I remember sitting in a meeting and saying, we should have an app. It should be like KP.org's app, where clients can just push a button and reach anybody in our department. And you said, okay, let's look at that. How can we do this? If it was a service innovation for clients and bringing new ways to serve the community, like Project Search to the department, you supported it. And because of that, we've supported hundreds of individuals with employment. You not only tolerated my new ideas, but you truly championed them. You taught me that true leadership isn't just managing the present, but boldly designing the future. And so I thank you for that, because it's really instilled in me the idea that no matter what challenges we face, we can find creative solutions. And the second thing that really defines your legacy here is your true and care that you've shown the department. You always lead with empathy, and you've always created space for folks to show up as they are. I know this will be your greatest and lasting impact on the department, because you've had the remarkable ability to see the person behind the title, as Dr. Richard so eloquently reflected on. You created space where people felt valued, respected, heard, safe to take risk. You led and you ensured collaboration and partnership happened at all levels. And even during the most challenging times, you prioritized being an employer of choice and ensuring that everyone knew that their contributions mattered. Mohammed, thank you for your commitment to the department's vision, always ensuring we kept our North Star in sight, and for leading with unwavering integrity and care. I've been privileged to call you Director Bader, then boss, then big boss, and now I get to call you friend. While your daily presence here will be deeply missed, we are thrilled for you to begin this next chapter alongside Diane and for all the adventures that await you. I'll be looking on Facebook.
Good morning. Hi, Sherelle Jackson. I use she, her pronouns. I currently work for ODHS as our interim chief service delivery officer. Prior to that, I had the great privilege of working for the county for 20 years and working for BOSS. Dear Mohammed, retirement? It's hard to believe how the time has flown. I still vividly remember my early days at the MLK branch when ADSD had yet to become ADVSD. I was a case manager newly returned to DCHS navigating a difficult bumping scenario and a workplace welcome that was less than warm. In those uncertain moments, I looked to you for support, and you didn't hesitate to come to my aid. I didn't know then if our paths would continue to cross, but I am grateful they did. When I promoted into leadership and joined Managers of Color, MOC, we quickly bonded over a shared mission, advocacy for staff of color. With Aubrey Davis, we became a little trio, fueled by laughter and a fierce commitment to one another. We found our voices together. Whenever one of us found the courage to call out systemic oppression, the other stood as firm allies. We didn't just work together, we championed the voices of others together. Your character has always been foundational to your leadership. I'll never forget when the DD Division Director role opened up. It would have been a rare promotional opportunity for me. But before you even considered applying, you reached out to ask if I was interested. You told me that if I were going for it, you wouldn't stand in my way. That nobility spoke volumes about the man you are. You were chosen for the role, and you led that division with heart and passion. The impact of your leadership is still felt today. You introduced data-informed strategies to strengthen our outcomes, bringing in a researcher to tell the true story of our work through analytics and literacy. At the time, I didn't even fully grasp your vision, but years later, I still look to those strategies and the vision you deployed to inform my own leadership. You gave our work a new level of credibility. Your legacy is also defined by the structural changes you championed. I think of our deep dives into the department's first ever equity manager position. You pored over every detail, from the interview questions to the significance of the office space, ensuring the role carried the prestige it deserves. So Dr. Richards' comments don't surprise me because you were there and that was your heart from the inception of the role. We strategized on its reporting structure together, knowing it had to report directly to the director to have true systemic impact. Because of your foresight, and as you heard here, that foundation remains strong today. You are the rare leader who is equally results-driven and deeply compassionate. You pushed me to grow, whether it was making me take that managing up course or teaching me the savvy of leading with influence rather than just pointing out the elephant in the room. My success and the success of so many others mattered to you. You didn't just manage, you sought to mentor. Even as I transitioned to the state, your spirit of innovation never wavered. You prioritized our collaboration, creating joint learning opportunities and piloting ways to maximize for families. You were always thinking 3 steps ahead, yet you always kept individuals and families at the very center and core of your work. It's hard to imagine this field without you leading alongside us. Thank you for your belief in me. Thank you for your commitment to my growth and your unwavering partnership. More than a colleague, you've been a friend. Boss, congratulations on this next step.
And now we have Peggy Bray virtually joining.
Well, hello, everyone. Sorry I blipped out there for a minute, but here in Palm Springs where it's sunny and 70, no hating. Anyway, Mohammed, oh my gosh, do you believe it? You know, as they were talking about, you've been here 30 years. Do you realize we've known each other half that time? We met in 2011, and I can't add anything. Everyone has said everything. I mean, I think for me, the biggest thing to point out is your tremendous impact, as you've just heard, for last, all these folks, and the impact you've had with me. You've helped me, as you've heard me say, you've helped me learn to listen and how to make people's self-directedness most important, and equity as an absolute driver in all that we do. But in those 15 years of knowing each other, you've always had a consistent, value-driven approach to everything you do, and you're going to continue doing that in what you're doing now. So this is just a new phase, a new journey, a new adventure. All the things that you've heard today continue with you, and your legacy, yep, it's everlasting, and it'll be everlasting with me. You're a great friend, a great mentor, and I'm not going to miss you because I know where you live. So there you have it. Nothing more to say. You're amazing. Love you. Thanks.
Chair Baker Peterson, if I may, did you say that there was like a Mohammed Bader Award that was given by the Immigrant and Refugee, ERG?
Yeah, he received, so it was the inaugural award named after Director Mohammed Bader, and he was the first one to receive it last year at a ceremony by the Immigrant and Refugee ERG.
If I could make this suggestion, I would like a broader county-wide award to be named after and in honor of Mohammed Bader, simply called the Mohammed Bader Humanitarian Service Award, that is given annually to a county employee who exhibits and demonstrates such service to community. I think it's in order. I think it would be a great way for the county to further not just embed, but cement Mohammed's legacy. We could do it the same way we have done with the Robert Phillips Diversity Award. And I know that award is sort of broader between county departments and different stakeholders, but I think right here in Multnomah County, to create that award named in honor of Mohammed Bader, given to a county employee who demonstrates such service, I think that would be in order and a great way to honor Mohammed Bader. Thank you, Chair. I yield back.
Thank you, Dr. Richard. And I will say we do have our employee recognition awards coming up soon, so I think that's something that we can definitely talk about and see how we can bring that. So thank you for that. Mohammed, The board, I know, is going to have comments to share. I want to offer you the chance to speak. So would you like to do that? And so I want to offer you the floor. Yeah. And then we'll go to the board for comments.
Thank you so much. I'm in awe. Thank you for my colleagues and for the record, Chair, Commissioners. My name is Mohammed Bader. What did I say? Sorry, I'm nervous. I know what I said. Okay, I better read my script here. I've been, I don't like to read speeches, but I decided to time myself, and for the first time, I had to ask Gemini to make sure that I stuck to I have about 8 minutes. So anyway, I'll, Chair and Commissioners, my name is Mohammed Bader. And for the last time today, I will introduce myself as the Director of the Department of County Human Services. As of tomorrow and the day after, I'll just be Mohammed, the dad, the traveler, the husband, the friend for all, and the poet, the podcaster, the brother. And then also I'll be the poet with his heads in the clouds. I just love to fantasize and dream. And I wanted to thank, some of my old bosses are here, some of my old friends are here. I want to thank you all. I see Dan, and I want to thank ODHS leadership for making the trek and coming here and recognize my great friends and supporters. And I mean by supporters because you had to really forge relationships with our partners, our payers, our community organizations. And that's how I was able to see things through for about 30 years. 30 years I worked in the county. Just to give you a background, about 28 and a half of those years I was in management. And just to also give you a little bit of a background about myself, I was born in East Jerusalem, in the old city of Jerusalem, just right in the hub between the Dome of the Rock, the Western Wall, and the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Jerusalem was a very international city, and I was able to meet and interact with all kinds of people, Americans, Greek, German, Scots, Irish. And very quickly we learned as kids to speak some of those languages because we had to really sell things to tourists. So as a young kid, all of my life I was taught to be a leader. Started with sales, managing shops. Wherever I went, shopkeepers will ask me to take care of their shops, souvenir shops, and I would do that. I went to school that started at 11 a.m. And so I would go open shops at 8, work until like about 10:30, go to school, get out of school at 4, then go back and work. And so all my life, people sought me and trusted in me to be some sort of a leader. And sometimes it did not pay very well, but I just kept doing that all through my life. I'm the 8th child, and my parents, Suleiman, which is Solomon, and my mother, Yusra, they both were illiterate, and I was the only child that actually finished high school. Most of my siblings ended maybe 5th, 6th grade by the most. And there's a lot of, political and socioeconomic dimensions that played into that. And so I was very fortunate that my sisters, and especially my sister Ida Horea, she basically took care of me very well. My father was 64 years old when I was born, and my mother was deaf due to a bomb explosion that happened in East Jerusalem. That she became deaf because of that, and she also was partially blind, and both of them just were really sick, and I had to learn how to care for my parents as the youngest kid. So that's the background that I can give you about myself. So today it is the highlight of my career to stand before you my esteemed peers and our community partners, and family and friends. My kids couldn't be here, but they'll be there later today. My journey didn't begin in an office. Oh, Sarah is there. Yeah! She made it. That's great. She keeps me really alive, this lady. Yeah. So, Sarah, good to see that you're here. So, my journey didn't begin in an office. It began in 1984 when I responded to a call to be a Good Samaritan, meaning like do good and expect nothing in return. I was a junior at Bethlehem University studying English, and two colleagues of mine and I started a nonprofit called Good Samaritan. We started at the time by helping other students in need. This was modeled after an agency here in Beaverton, Oregon, called Good Samaritan International. In 1986, I set sail for the USA to study counseling and practice my English. What was meant to be a 6-month training program turned into a decade of preparation, shaped by the loss of my birth parents shortly after my arrival. My father and mother died about a month and 2 months after I arrived here. And the Intifada also, the Palestinian Intifada, started while I was here. I was fortunate to be adopted by the founder of Good Samaritan International, who taught me the true value of humanity, and that love, kindness, and compassion are the definitions of being a friend to all. I am eternally thankful for my Mitchell family, Betty, Gerald, and my sisters, Michelle, Laura, and Jenny. Jerry was a dedicated Beaverton School teacher, and Betty was a fierce advocate for workers. I also give a great thanks to my birth parents, Sulaiman and Yusra, for teaching me honesty and perseverance. My father, Sulaiman, had a nickname, Rihan in Arabic, which means basil, for his sweetness. He taught me that good and bad words are coming from the same mouth, so choose the good words. My mother, Yusra, was an intuitive weaver who taught me the language of dreams. And my sister, Ida, listening from Jerusalem, became a mother to me when I was very young. As a Palestinian born in the old city of Jerusalem, I believe we are sent to this world to show the resiliency of our people and our dedication to peace and education. The day before I came to the US, I set my intentions on serving as a bridge between the East and the West. I wanted the world to recognize our shared humanity through poetry and grace, especially when war threatened to deepen the hurt. 40 years later now, I feel there is so much more to do. It took 10 years of my life training to land this job here at Multnomah County in November of 1995. And I'm glad that my boss, Bill Toomey, is here. He was the first guy to hire me. And actually, in reality, he was the guy who told me, Mohammed, you're a leader. You should go find, you should be a manager somewhere. I don't have a manager job here for you, but you should. And I did. And he's been a friend and a colleague ever since. Almost all of people who were my managers, I had a great friendship with them. And as you can see, Peggy Bray was one of the greatest bosses that I ever had too. I was so eager to start when my boss suggested I wait until December. I told him I couldn't wait another minute. I dove in the day after Thanksgiving and have not stopped since. To my DCHS colleagues, I want to say I saw you and you saw me. Together, we built programs that changed lives and improved outcomes and the quality of life for our program participants. We met the moment during COVID, tackled food insecurity, and stood on the front line of the housing crisis and severe weather events. Through our sustainable business strategy, we prioritize services to our community by centering people we serve first and by promoting workforce equity, and focused our energy on becoming employer of choice. This enabled our staff and union stewards to consistently give us ongoing feedback. I'm especially proud that we took Preschool for All from a policy concept to implementation. And I want to thank Chair Viga Pearson for bringing me into that program early on when she was a commissioner. We worked very hard, and I appreciated your sense of optimism and your hard work in that program, Chair. To DCHS leadership team, you truly rock, all of you, and I really will miss out our discussions and Socratic dialogues about improving our systems and services. To give you a little bit of background, at Bethlehem University, which was a Catholic university run in the middle of Palestine, the West Bank, our professors were, amazing professors, mostly Americans, British, Scottish, Irish. We had a ratio of 1 to 10 students in that college, and we engaged in dialogues, and that's what I mean by the Socratic dialogues. I used that, and I used that in my leadership because I never had the right answer myself, and it was always, there's synergy about talking and discussing things together. To my wife, Diane, thank you for supporting me and our children during those constant work hours, especially when I had restrictions on time off. I remember a lot of times where I kept saying, I can't do this, can't take time off. And lots of times we had to cancel vacations. And I did not tell that to anybody, but I knew that work was important, and appreciated you standing with me, Diane. And to Gabriel and Sarah, you are my greatest joy and pride. I'm sorry for those early daycare drop-offs. But look at where are you now. And to my daughter-in-law, Jimena, thank you for bringing so much pizzazz to our family. To the ERG leaders and employees, managers of color, employees of color, and the immigrant refugee groups, thank you for your advocacy. I especially want to thank Dr. Richard, Alice Sambatian, Moed Damboun, and Ahmed El-Zubaydi for your leadership with these ERGs. To the 1,000 staff members of DCHS, you are the heartbeat of this department. I have been proud to co-lead with you for these past 6 years as your director, and for the past 28 years in various roles as a senior manager within DCHS. To all of the community-based organizations, partners, and funders whom I worked with, I thank you for all of your support. And I know that Farah Bors is here, and Liesel sent a delegation, really developing that relationship with ODHS. I want to say that Farah Bors, Liesel, and his staff, Rob Kuderi, who's their finance director, they all would take my phone calls and texts when I say, what the heck, why is the budget wonky? What can you do? And they really worked very hard and answered my calls, To my bosses, present and past, and board members and chair staff, I want to thank you for the great synergy and for co-creating with me and for giving me space to express my thoughts and expertise. And I'll add to emote, because a lot of you know that when I get when I get frustrated, I do express that. To Chief Operating Officer Neil, I truly appreciate the connections we made. I have really enjoyed our conversations, your candor and sense of brotherhood. We really saw each other and understood each other. Chair, I wanted to say especially, it's really hard to lead at this time in a world that is fractured and demanding. I always appreciated how respectful you are, your optimistic view on topics despite the turbulence. I always remember that smile. You're always like, yeah, we can do it, even in the face of criticism. And Commissioner Moyer, I just want to say I appreciate your candor. I really appreciate our conversations, your advocacy for mental health and for people with disabilities. I would say that for a while, DD, ADVSD were on the back burner until you came in and introduced that on the board. A lot of times, we we focus so much on county general fund and forget about those other programs that are self-sustaining, revenue generating. It's real money that comes into the county, millions and millions of dollars, but a lot of times we forget about those and focus on the county general fund. And Commissioner Singleton, I just wanted to say that I really loved, I want to have more coffee with you. I just appreciated that. One time we just walked, like two regular human beings, walked to a coffee shop and just exchanged information where I get to learn a little bit more about you and about your family and about the fact that you played soccer. It was an amazing, and I know you asked me a question about what is your thoughts, how can we improve housing? And I hope that at some point we really need to tackle the issue of home ownerships and the affordability of housing. And I know that you are at the forefront of that. I wanted to thank you. And as I look at Commissioner Jones-Dixon, I really, you're a true brother. I just like, you're one of those people when I got a phone call from or met with, I was like relaxed because I knew that I had a great support, and I knew that we had the connection of Dr. Poe together. We were like students of his, and so I felt like a brotherhood within that, and so I really appreciated the respect I received from you. And to Commissioner Brim Edwards, I admire your tenacity and ability to formulate questions and think of solutions. I wish you great luck to you as a board. And I believe that Multnomah County is lucky to have you to advocate for what's best. And I want to urge you to really just put at the center of your operations the people we serve and the employees we have. I also wanted to, there's a lot of people that were supportive. I want to thank my, other than my DCHS leadership and staff, I wanted to thank the Directors Council, my fellow directors for having these coffee shop meetings, whatever, that we used to have. But there's like a couple people in comms that I really felt a great connection here that I want to give a shout out to is Ryan Yambras and Jessica Morka-Chepley. And they were really, I had a deep connection with Ryan, and I really appreciated that support they've given me. I want to leave with a reflection, and don't worry that my speech will almost be done in a few minutes more. I want to leave with a reflection on my journey. And I served under 12 county chairs, I counted. I want you to know that. Like there was, starting with Bev Stein. And the one reflection I wanted to say, I have two poems, one a little bit longer, one is shorter I want to end with. And I wrote this one poem, and then I kind of shortened it a little bit, but I called it The Iron Man. Not because I'm an Iron Man, and a lot of people know me for my vulnerability and making fun of myself and making mistakes and fumbling. But I figured to make it in government for 30 years, 28 and a half of which is in management in highly political, volatile environment with a lot of budget cuts and a lot of, opinions and thoughts about government and how it should be run. And so I figured it's got to be something that, that you have to have that iron will, if you will, to just keep going. And there's a few things that centered me, and I'll let you guess what they were. Or maybe you've heard them already. I once was an Iron Man, bold, brave, determined. Once I was the shiny penny, the new, the young, the one full of vitality and vigor. Dreams and ideas poured of me like rain. Yes, also, I was the one who did not walk away from a fight. The one with great ambitions, desires, and hunger to fix it all, to be a champion, not for others, but to satisfy a hunger within my soul. To soar, to create an impact, to be sublime. Then 30 years flew. 30 years imprinted wrinkles on my soul, like water carving a canyon through storm and wind. Suddenly you realize your soul was etched by good memories, by the company of giants, by monumental achievements, and yes, occasionally by the betrayals endured. Not by any person or a group, but by the time, by the ebb and flow of the tides, the unpredictable nature of human beings, and by the relentless pursuit of perfection. It carves you into a formidable human being, not weak, but older and majestic. And if I had to, I'd do it all over again. Success must be earned, not wished for. What I remember most are the people I served, those who put a smile on my face, those who lifted my spirit when I was down, and those who gave me a kick in the butt to keep going. And in closing, I say, people view retirement as fading into the sunset, but I'm not retiring from my purpose. I'm returning to my first love, being a friend to all. I'm looking at the horizon and dreaming of the next adventure. So with all that, I like to end with this poem. With gratitude, I take my leave, humble, grateful, and finally freed. For 30-some years, I rolled up my sleeves, behind the curtain, giving all I could breeze. For all the people I sought to please, it wasn't the rank or the high degrees. I have been happy to serve the worker bees, for you truly cannot get honey without the bees. Thank you, please. Thank you, Multnomah County.
Thank you so much, Mohammed. So I'm going to give our board a chance to share their comments and their gratitude to you, Mohammed. So we'll start with Commissioner Singleton.
Thank you, Chair. Mohammed, I'm so sorry I couldn't be there today. I feel like one last hug while you're in this director role would have been exceptionally nice. I can't say enough about how supportive you were when I came in as an interim director at the joint office and really supported me in understanding what our roles were, how we were working together across our different departments, and just being really supportive, knowing that I was a short timer and making sure I had everything I needed to really execute my work. I've also then just enjoyed working with you and your team so much as a commissioner, and the way that you showed up to problem solve when we were kind of going through some really tough conversations during the budget is just so highly commendable. And I know that your modeling for your staff means that that approach, that style will continue on in the department. You will be missed, and I expect that you will take some time to travel and do all the fun things, but you will turn into another Peggy Bray who retires, but then shows up all the time to help support new directors, to help step in when the interims are needed, and really show up for Multnomah County as you always have. So I will say this is, I'll see you later as opposed to a goodbye. Thanks, Mohammed.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Moyer.
I was nervous how you were going to react when I won my election, having been an advocate who pushes for change, is not always wildly welcome when they focus on your department, but instead, I really found a thought partner and somebody as dedicated as you could possibly want in the position of DHS, or sorry, I call everything DHS, our Human Services Department. have really, really enjoyed our time together, and I'm sad to lose you, although I feel like you've built an incredibly strong department. I know that we live in a society that glorifies people who make billions and are flashy and seek attention. And I think that is such a sad reflection on our culture, because I think heroes are the people who could have done anything, but instead chose to give their talent to others. And by this room, you clearly have impacted this community and the tens of thousands of people that Multnomah County has served. I'm probably not supposed to tell this publicly, but I think you would appreciate this as you leave us. I was in the Capitol Tuesday causing trouble like I do, and I got called into the governor's office to talk to their human services director, to let me know that they will be working with us to roll out the 1915K to people with severe persistent mental illness. And that never would have happened if you did not immediately say, even though behavioral health is not your responsibility, you immediately said, how can we make this happen? So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Commissioner. Commissioner Jones-Dixon.
Yeah. Whenever I engage with DHS, I end up crying or tearing up. This is normal. The first thing that came to mind when I thought about this morning, I thought, as far as the department and a word to describe the department and what it means to myself personally, I think of the soul of the county, as far as the departments and how it connects to everyone. And I just want to say thank you for your leadership and leading with intentionality, and for the seeds that you have planted. As you can see, there are multiple directors, at the state level, touching hundreds and thousands of people. I've learned what it means to lead humbly and to keep after it. Similar to you, I see everyone as friends, and I didn't always think outside of the box. I see every challenge as an opportunity. You've embodied that. And also I want to say thank you to just your family, because I really know what it means to be supportive of your dad and your husband over the last 30 years. And I've been intentionally over the last year looking at ways to weave my wife and our 14-year-old daughter who's dealing with boys. And yes, I do have 200 nephews at the high school, and my 9-year-old son. Thank you for being an amazing leader, friend, leading with vulnerability, both through your poetry and then here at the county as well. So I wish you the best and look forward to continuing to build with you well into the future after you come back from your vacations and traveling a little bit. So thank you again, and thank you as well.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Brin.
Mohammed, it's so good to see you back in the boardroom. I'm not going to ask you any questions. It was with curiosity, and I really appreciate your patience with me when I first got on the commission. I was only here for 2.5 years of your 30 years of service, so I'm really appreciative of those who came today and spoke about your entire tenure and the legacy you're leaving. As you noted, you were a leader or manager most of the time in your county. There are leaders who can effectively manage up, because apparently there's a class for that. I didn't even know that. But there are leaders who can manage up. But good leaders don't just manage up. Good leaders inspire and support those they work with. And that's what we heard here today. And we heard it, I heard it during my time from people at all levels who worked for you, that you were the leader, not just with the title, but someone that people wanted to follow and who inspired them and brought them together around a common goal. So thank you for that. That's really part of your legacy here. I want to thank you for really providing the critical safety net services to community members in our county, and for stepping in as director and helping the county human services sort of navigate through a really challenging time, the pandemic, the post-pandemic years, and stepping up as a leader to show others how to be leaders in really challenging times. I think this is what we heard this morning. I've appreciated your dedication to equity and to serving the most vulnerable in our community. I mean, often in the last several years, there's been a lot of conversations about many other topics, and you've just continued to stay focused on those that we absolutely are sort of the safety net for and the most vulnerable. I also, as the co-chair of LPSC, want to thank you for your service to the council and for always bringing humanity into conversations about community safety, because often that gets ignored in those conversations. And I finally want to thank you for the thing that I'm going to be most remember you for, and that is bringing your beautiful poetry into the boardroom and to all of us, and really a gift that you shared. And we had some tense moments and challenging times, and that was when you usually stepped in and shared your poetry with us. So I understand that you're not going to stop, so we just aren't going to get it in the boardroom, but I really appreciate that, because I think that always kind of recentered us back to our common humanity and our common mission. And you said today that you wanted to be a bridge, and I think you've done that. That'll be part of your legacy. So you're going to be missed, but you've really earned your retirement. And I'm glad that you'll continue to give your gifts back to the community, but just in a different role. So thank you, Mohammed.
So I got to say a lot at the intro, but I did want to just share just how grateful I am, because I got to see you in different roles over my time at the county. When I was a commissioner coming in, I didn't really know anything about like federal funding of programs, and as the division director of IDD, that was something that that I learned from you, and that was really important. And then as the deputy director and the interim director and as the director, I've seen your impact and your influence on the county. But I think when I think about all of the work that the county does, in a lot of ways, DCHS is at the core of the work, and I think actually a better word is at the heart of the work that the county does. And I think that is apparent in all of the people who are here today, past and present, from DCHS, as well as the counterpart at DHS at the state. And you, Mohammed, just personify that heart and what that actually means to do this work. And, I had to check a little bit when you said that you were a little nervous coming in here, because when I think about you and your leadership, I think about the fearlessness with which you bring your whole self to this work. You share your poetry with us. You share your passion. You share your feelings. You share your ideas and your visions. And I will say that in all the department directors that I've worked with over the years at the county, I think the clarity of vision that you have had about what you wanted your department to be, what you wanted it to achieve, what you wanted your employees to experience, what you wanted the community experience, that has been the clearest vision, and not just the vision, but actually making it happen. I mean, part of the focus that I have on the one county and the focus that I have on, finally getting to a strategic plan was about the plans that you had, the investments, the reports, the data that you really always uplifted and really and felt was important in a way that I hadn't seen, in a lot of other departments. And so I just want to thank you, because I think about, the path that people make when they move through life and the impressions that they leave. And the impressions that you have left, that you are leaving in Multnomah County is not just in the thousands and thousands of lives that have been touched by the work of DCHS. It's not just on the employees, the thousands of employees that you have touched, but it is on the county as a whole, on this organization as a whole. And again, I am just so grateful for you. You will be missed, but you will not be forgotten. So thank you so much, Mohammed. So I know that we are going to, where's Matoya? We have a picture, and so we're gonna do a picture. So we will convene, or we'll have a picture, and then we can come back for board comments. But I did just want to make sure everybody knew that we are going to have a reception today from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. in the atrium of the 5 Oak Building at 209 Southwest 4th Avenue on the 2nd floor. So invite everyone to attend that. Light refreshments will be provided, and people are welcome to come and stay for as long or as little as their schedule allows. But I just encourage everybody to take this opportunity to share their experiences and share this moment with Mohammed. So thank you for that. All right, so we're going to take a quick break and take a picture, and then we'll finish up the board meeting.